During the editing of this video, I broke my shirt. See, the windshield's cracked. This is me getting out of hell. More to come on this in the next video.
Come on this way, man.
Hey everybody, Dan here from Sherp ATV. Just wanted to say hi and thought I'd just share how wonderful life is. So again, repeat thing is basically I retired. I'm kind of doing a little bit of consulting work on the side. But I bought a property in northern Wisconsin, and today is just an absolutely gorgeous day outside. Got down to about 15 degrees last night. It's mid-November. I don't remember exactly what the date is. But this is what I got going on today. I got the Sherp sitting out here. And we are going to turn on the Webasto heater. Get it warmed up on the inside there and probably go out and play a little bit on the river here, which I really haven't done much yet. I've been so busy and I've got so many different things to do with this property. Long story short is the folks that were here, they were here for about 40 years. And unfortunately the husband passed away and she couldn't continue to maintain the whole thing. So I ended up getting it, helping her move. But there's a lot of stuff to get rid of, a lot more to get rid of. So again, with the Sherp, sorry about the sun here, what I try to do is use just an Optimate charger. And what I do is I go in and I plug that in to the Sherp through an accessory up on top. And then I just plug the charger right into it and just let her go. And actually the battery was pretty good this morning. So what we got to do is just go in the back and turn on the Webasto heater. It's kind of difficult to do this with one hand. Just come back here, turn this, and this little lever right here, this directs all of the air coming from that heater into the engine compartment, or it goes into the cab also. We're going to let it go to both right now. Try to be quiet here, maybe you can hear that. We'll go out and take a look and see what it looks like when it starts up. So it's just starting to heat up the unit itself, so it's starting to burn diesel, just a smidgen there. And once it starts to get going, it feeds a little bit more air into it, increases the amount of combustion, and when it reaches the right temperature, there's a fan on the inside of it that turns on, and then that blows into the engine compartment and the occupant department. You can kind of hear that little bit difference right now. And again, it's chilly out yet. I don't know, it's still probably below 20. And that smoke / condensation goes away after this unit warms up. I'll button that up here right when I get done. Coming over here to the river, which is pretty cool. It's the second time it's frozen this year, and I think it might actually stick if the temperatures stay like that. It's not completely froze over, but the heater actually kind of has some different speeds, so until it gets warmed up it really starts a-rolling, but as it goes it does quiet down a little bit, but it is kind of noisy.
So I decided just to drive through this grassy area, and there's some huge rocks in here, probably about 3 feet tall. The camera does not do justice as to what's going on right now. There is wheels off the ground a lot.
Oh, what do I have going on here? Well, as I was just doing that last little movement, shall we say, on the Sherp, I discovered when I was up on top of a rock and I pulled on one of the levers on the inside of the Sherp that you use to drive it, that the other wheel stopped turning. So, long story short, there's something wrong with the clutches. So we are going to adjust those quickly and clean them quickly. So I'll just hop up in here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. The first thing that you do is you take off the spring, so just grab a hold of it. It's right on the end right there. You pull that off. This space right there, a 24mm wrench can fit in between there. So I'll do that, check that out. So I was able to get those clutches adjusted. But while I had everything kind of apart in the back of the Sherp, I also checked out the tension on the chains. And it was quite loose, honestly, much looser than what I expected it to be. And I tightened that up. It's a fairly simple process to do. What you do is just loosen up this lock nut and then tighten up the bolt, and it'll tighten up the chains. And then I got that done. This side wasn't as bad as the other side. I got this side done. And then there's also another chain that you have to think about too, and that's the main driven chain. It comes right off of the transmission, right down there. And there's a couple of universal joints. I'll throw some grease in there too while I have that in here. But this main chain also needs to be tightened. And I don't remember what the right term is, so forgive me, I'm not a mechanic. I'm just enough to be able to get by. But you got to loosen up these bolts here, and there's some tabs here that you have to move over first. And then you spin this whole thing, and it's kind of oblong. So as you turn it, it makes the chain tighter. So I'll get that done too. What else? I think that's about all that I'm planning to do in here yet. I will check the front chains, and the front chain right here is this one and the other one, and they don't seem to be in need of adjustment. Not sure why. Maybe I didn't do the back ones and I did it last time. But I'm debating about changing the oil while I have all this thing apart too. It doesn't have a lot of hours on it, but it is over a year old. Not sure if I'm going to get that done yet or not. And I'm also, when I go up to the front and then take another look at those clutches, I'm going to also adjust the levers that you pull to steer with, both the clutch adjustment piece and then when you come back farther, the brake. So we'll adjust those too. But they might not need adjustments. Never know. But just more on that main chain adjustment. I don't remember if I had a video on this or not, but what I did is I just pulled up this tab, loosened this nut, which loosens this all up. And then I honestly forgot, hopefully I can find that again, but there's actually a tool that Sherp gives you to turn this. Here it is. Now it doesn't do a damn thing. There's no way I can make this thing fit in there, but I can put it right inside of that slot right there. I'll show you on this one. Like that, and you can just turn it. So I got that part done. And then chain is perfect. So we tighten them back up again and we're off and running. So we got the universal joints greased. There's a couple of zerks on the clutch there. Or actually one on each side. I only gave that one shot. For some reason I remember you're not supposed to grease that very much. I'm just going to get this sucker vacuumed out here. Try to clean her up a little bit. Looks dirty, but I I do try to take care of it as best I can. But she goes through some mess. That's what happens. Continuing while I'm working on this, I thought I'd look at the adjustments up here too, just to show you how this works. So as I'm pulling one of the levers that you use to steer, that's moving that lever. So as I move it back a little bit, it goes up in the air. This right here goes up in the air. And then as you pull back farther, it makes the bottom one squish the brakes in. So it clutches and brakes. Clutches, brakes. So I got that adjusted, and we'll get her back together again. I got everything apart, and I'll show you like that one more time before we close that all up. I thought I'd quickly look and show you what that internal like interior is. Again, it's a Cordura fabric that's out there, so it's extremely strong. Used a lot in like motorcycle clothing, snowmobile clothing, that type of thing. And then it's got a nice insulating material too on there to keep that engine compartment heat contained. But it's extremely well made. I've taken it out, unfortunately, way too many times. Again, here's one last look at the Sherp. Is you can probably hear that click sound. That click sound is the Webasto heater, and what it's doing is it's drawing fuel from the tank. It's actually right over here. So this is coming from the diesel tank. Oop. And right down here, there's a valve, and that valve redirects, or actually it doesn't redirect. It's just a valve that opens that allows fuel to also go to the Webasto heater, which is right there. So now it's slowing down and speeding up. That's because it's working off of temperature. And the thermostat for the Webasto heater is way the heck up in there. And I've had to replace that before. Actually, Julie replaced that before we placed the wire. So I will put the panels on and kind of come back and show you some of that in just a sec what it looks like. There's the first panel put in. The stuff down here, those yellow things, are just oil absorbent pads. Again, because the chains are being oiled. Let's try to find a better one here. A brush right here. So that brush right there, as oil comes down and drips onto those fibers, shall we say, and then it goes down onto the chain. So the oil is going to eventually go on the bottom of this. That's just the way that it's designed. And the oil fill up is right here. And all you have to do to put in the oil for that is I just use chainsaw oil. It works wonderful. So we'll get the next panel on, and we'll get the tub that goes in here that I don't put anything in on, and I'll show you a picture of that. And then this tub goes into that space. And that's what it looks like with the tub installed. I typically don't put anything in there. It would be a good thing because it's lower to the center of gravity, but it's a pain in the ass to have to access to that because you've got to pull out both of those two storage compartments that people sit on in the back to get to it. And I'd rather just take those out and grab that, and it's much easier because once you get those things in the back of here, there's not a hell of a lot of room, and it's 20 below zero outside. And you got to take that stuff out and set it on the side or something over here, and then go back in and then shut everything and let the Webasto heater do its work so you don't freeze your ass off. So we'll get some more of the stuff on and keep going. So the panel up on top there above the engine's got to be put on yet, and then the floor panels. Then we put that cover on. There is, let's see here, 2, 4, 6, 8 straps that hold that down. And then you put that Cordura fabric cover over the top. We're getting closer. We got that cover on. Next, the floor. Well, essentially, she's all put back together again. I've just got to put those totes back in the back of it there. but they have a lot of dew and I want to clean them off before I plop them in there. So we're going to let that happen. And then we're going to, I think, go out on a spin and go out to the river. I think there might be even an inch of ice out there. We'll see. Well, I appreciate you watching, appreciate you subscribing. The next video is going to be even more exciting because I'm going to be sharing how, again, this whole thing was created. And the inside of the Sherp is an absolute mess. You can see how dirty those seats are. It's just crazy what I went through. I am so glad that nothing more broke. Just look at all this mud and crap that was in here. Literally, when you were going into this Sherp on the next video, your first step was the middle because the Sherp was basically vertical. More to come. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and we'll talk to you later. Bye.